warm welcome to this very special conclave. Mr. Jaideep Gupta has very bravely said that he's going to keep you all up and attentive, so here goes. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce and welcome our panelists. He is Chief Executive Officer, India and Emerging Markets, Quality New Zealand. Please welcome Dr. Nitin Nagrani. He is Director of Purchase Hotel Meluha, the firm. Please welcome Harvey Rodrigues. He is Senior Manager Supply Chain, K Hospitality Corporation. Please welcome Mahendra Shinde. He will be joining us very shortly. He is within the premises, so he should be coming in. He is Director Commercial, Charlotte Food Solution. Please welcome Dilap Jagde. He is Materials Manager, Nesco Foods. A warm welcome to Rajendra Sitaram Kanikar. He is Head of Procurement, Peninsula Hospitality Group. Let's make some noise for Samir Chandragan Pendikar. He is Head of SCM and Purchase, Mad Donuts. Please put your hands together for Santosh Danfode. He is Lead Procurement and Contracts at Geo World Center. Let's hear it for Sunil Kuttan. He is Co-founder and Chief Executive Officer, Capsicum Global. Let's welcome Mohan Upadhyay. Okay, I'm not sure, but I'm going to announce his name. He is General Manager Materials, Hotel Kohinoor Continental. A warm welcome to Rahul. No, he's not there. Okay, and Alistair Credo. Not sure either, maybe he'll drop in. So we will welcome when he does. Ladies and gentlemen, to keep you all upright, wide-eyed and attentive and participative, please welcome our moderator. He is Director, ANYA Management and Advisory Board member of HPMF. Please welcome Jaideep Gupta. And so Mr. Jaideep Gupta and the panel.
Thank you very much, and please be seated. Today I have a surprise guest for you as well. I would like to welcome Marcy Mahatsarya, founder and CEO of Just Deliveries. She is joining us on the panel. Last minute join, but we'd love to have you today. Marcy, you can sit down. For all of you who intend to listen carefully to this, I would really recommend that you come to the front, because my sessions are generally interactive. I like you to participate. So if you don't mind, too close to the food could be very dangerous for us. So ideally, if you could sit this way. Thank you, sir. And I must say that I do a lot of sessions, I do a lot of moderating, but to have a star-studded panel like this is one of the privileges that I've not had for a very long time. So I think we all deserve a huge applause. All seniors, all from the industry, which captures the essence of procurement of various different, I would say, verticals in a way. And what's more important is that altogether, I have not asked them, but altogether I'm sure they have. So I think we should start off by sort of clearing the basics. Sunil, you tell us, what's the difference between materials management and supply chain management?
So, good afternoon, my name is Sunil. I am a part of Reliance Industries Limited. I lead the procurement for Geo World Center. So, I'll answer Mr. Gupta's. And so, I was very fortunate to work on both the sides. So, materials, when you say materials department or materials function, it limits to very specific unit level procurement where you manage the stores, you manage the procurement and sourcing level, and mostly it very much limits to the unit level. But coming to the supply chain part, it's a vast module where it involves sourcing to even at a level of central commissary. Many angles are involved. So I think supply chain materials is a part of supply chain. Supply chain is a whole whole, maybe say Planet, and it's a small division of materials department. So supply chain, I was a part of supply chain. I was heading a supply chain for a unit where, I was responsible for setting up the entire value chain to the business. Now, starting from you source a product, you store a product, you manage the logistic part. Logistic is very key part of the supply chain, and everything is connected to that point.
All right, Santosh, would you like to add something to this? Whatever you're saying. When you say supply chain management, right? Like Sunil pointed out, supply chain is not just one aspect of the procurement. It is like controlling the entire logistics part of it as well. Now, in your experience, the logistical aspect is, so how important is the logistical aspect as far as materials function is?
Hi, I am Santosh. I am representing Mad Over Donuts. We have almost 139 outlets in 5 cities. And now sir is already talking about the logistic. So logistic is a big part. In any company, logistic, they're thinking that only the materials will come and we can consume, and every 7 days delivery comes. But here, the logistic is every day we supply 2 times in a day to a single outlet. You understand, 139 outlets, 2 delivery in a 5 city, to understand the meaning of supply chain. So this is the challenge. Talking about the raw material, sir is talking about raw material. I think raw material is a bigger role, because at the end of the day, without raw material we cannot do. But it's a part and parcel of supply chains where we can talk about the planning, inventory control, the receiving sections and everything. But when the supply chains everything is related with the future plan. So that's
what you would define as. So you are saying that logistics per se is one of the most important aspects of supply chain management, right? And materials function is probably a part of the entire chain.
No, it's a 100%. Both equally is responsible. But end of the day, when we got talking about the supply chain, it's a one division of raw materials, a one division part.
Okay, fair enough. Understood.
To add to this, I would say it's out of experience. When I was working off hospitality industry, I was working in a section where there was engineering work involved. So, it's like getting your raw material, delivering to the place of production, and then delivering right to the consumer. So you have to understand your supply chain, plan it accordingly, foresight whatever problems could be on the journey, and deliver to the consumer at the right time that you have achieved your goal.
Perfect, Harvey. So, since you have taken this particular topic up, Harvey, why don't you answer the next question also, which is, I want to ask you, when we talk about supply chain visibility, how do you define supply chain visibility? What is supply chain visibility?
Supply chain visibility is something like we can say, you have to be aware of getting the raw material at the right time. You also have to understand and plan yourself well in advance. That is, getting your stakeholders, whoever requires the product, getting the middleman, that is the transport division also. And the visibility will be seen when you deliver the good at the end.
Okay.
There you will be known that yes, I have got the product, it's right on time, and I can use it and fulfill the wants of the people.
Right. So would you say supply chain visibility is actually knowing from the start of the process to the end of the process, to have knowledge and control of each and every aspect of supply chain?
Yes.
That's what you would call visibility, right?
Yes. Because this pandemic has made us realize, all of us, that we should plan ourselves, because anything could happen. 2 transporters crossing the states, vehicles are stopped, and how you can avoid the delays in supply of food.
Samir, so how, now that he's sort of talked about what is supply chain visibility, would you like to give us some pointers on what is the goal of a good supply chain? I mean, how when I say visibility, when you define visibility as knowing each and every aspect of supply chain, what should be the goal, end product of a good supply chain?
Sure. Jaideep. It's not just about achieving the cost savings, but also adding the efficiency to the entire process, I believe. Like Harvey precisely mentioned, lockdown has given us a lot of experience and learnings,
Right.
So this is just not at the domestic level that we need to achieve this, but also at the global level. So precisely to summarize in one line, I think efficiency is something that is really important for the entire process. Thank you.
All right. Kantika sir, question for you. You handle one aspect of supply chain that is actually quite an enigma to us. So you are in charge of Nesco. Now, I believe Nesco is into various. They have catering, they have, in a sense, there's managed restaurants. Now, all these things are sort of, I won't say a clash with each other, but they have some sort of, they have synergy, but at the same time, they are very different ways of handling things. Now, when you are in charge of an organization like that, where you have to ensure the supply chain to each of these outlets or each of these various verticals, I would say, have to come into place. What is the most important thing that you need to know to be able to ensure a smooth, movement of materials into these? So, what I'm trying to ask you is, if supply chain is your baby, what is the first thing that you would look at to ensure that this is smooth?
Basically, when we at Nesco, you asked me particular questions regarding the Nesco.
Yeah.
So Nesco has many verticals together in the one complex.
Right.
However, when as an in charge, when I to take care of this particular logistic part, we work backward these things. From we say yes, there is exhibitions, there are the events, there are social events, there are restaurants, hotels. We have gathered all our requirement together, and then we put it on the paper, and by the way of supply chain management or some logistic parts, we ensure the products are in time. So basically what we do is to get the all product in time, we make sure the contracts are done in time. All the requirements given by the various verticals are jotted down together, and their requirements are put in the contract place. So at last, whenever the requirement comes, if we started looking for the vendors, it will be there is no use of that. Then we will not be able to get the product. So maximum vendors are contracted, and then as and when we require, we get the product on time. As a exhibition part, how it comes, the requirements comes at the last moment. 11th hour requirement, tomorrow morning I want a Lavazza copy machine to be placed in this. So if I have a Lavazza copy machine in the contract testing, then it is very easy for me to get the materialize the same requirement in the stipulated time. That is how we do so.
So one of the key elements that I understand from what Kapika sir was saying is that you need to ensure planning. Planning seems to be the first key element that is required for proper supply chain management. Am I right? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. The second part, I think Mahendra, nowadays even more in supply chain management.
So basically, I can say the transition of a materials manager to the supply. He works in a limited area, but he got in-depth knowledge of the products and processes. And when he put forward his foot towards the supply chain manager, so he enters into the next phase of his life as a supply chain manager. So for me, just for a smooth supply chain, to be as far as the subject is concerned, that enhancing visibility into the supply chain, there are three important processes which we should follow. The one thing is your own organization processes. Another one is your relation with your stakeholders, like your internal and external customers. And the third one is because your entire management is keeping eye on these entire processes. So how you are managing your softwares and your technology. So the technology what you are talking about, we play very important roles because. So let's start about the technology. When you want to run the smooth supply chain management in your organization, you have to have a upgraded system of technology which can give you the intact data of in what products you are dealing in, who all are your another part, like your suppliers and your internal and external customer who are involved in these processes, what kind of raw material you are using, and at the end of the day, when you want to pitch to the vendors, so what kind of data you have available in terms of your consumption, and what are other things you are going to order in your next future. So like this technology gives you the input of what you are using right now, what you are going to use in the future. And at the same time, they give you the numbers also. And basically, the company what I work for, we have a large number of volumes in our hand. So this technology and this data plays very important role in our system. And again, as a process of supply chain, which includes your say the transition what I was talking about, a material manager have such kind of knowledge of raw material. The management involves you also in terms of creating the menus, because you have in-depth knowledge of raw material, and as a supply chain you have the expertise of the markets. You can appoint a good warehousing team, good logistic team who can give you a proper solution to all these aspects. Then back-end processors who can make any sort of product, because as a supply chain you handle a larger perspective of supply chain. So all these kind of things has to have in your hand. I would have like to say like Mansi, like she's the one of the leading example of providing logistic services and warehousing services. So this kind of company you have to have in your hands who can, because they are the backbone for our business. So when you have a technology in your hand, you will be able to give you the what kind of business you are going to provide them in the future. So based on that, they do their backward calculation in terms of giving you good valuation in terms of budgets and all. So this what I can say how the technology works in these processes. Thank you.
Dr. Nagaraj, question. Now you have been the doyen of supply chain, procurement, materials, and you've handled so many different types of work. Even now you have changed and you moved into something very, very different. Now when we talk about technology, I believe that technology of this sort in India is still not that of that level. Question, I have two for you. First question is, what are the things that are actually important in terms of technology to be looked at? So what are the, let me put it this way, what are the things that you need to sort of arrive at to have the technology? For example, say you have competition, you have complexity in logistics. Now, when it comes to technology, has India progressed at all in these years? That's question number one. Question number two, and the most important question is, being part or founder and general secretary of HPMF, what is the role of HPMF in enhancing this supply chain visibility? You can take your time and give us the answer.
Thank you for the question. So first of all, let me answer the previous question which you had asked in terms of the role of technology. So first of all, there is no existence of any of us if there is no technology. Gone are those days when we used to do our purchase orders, receiving reports, GRNs manually. In spite of having such a manpower, we don't have that time now to do everything manually. How it obstructs if you follow manual system is, first of all, you don't have reports, you don't have facts and figures, you don't have analysis. And at the end of the day, what's important is to create something called management reporting system. So if you do not have reports for yourself, you don't have trust on your own reports or on your own performance, I would say. So at the end of the day, a purchase manager typically wants to know what am I supposed to order for the next day, what should I take it from the stores, how do I inform the vendors, how do I arrange the logistics and supply chain. So there are two key differentiators between materials management and supply chain. I'm actually answering everything together. So what's important is materials management is very specific. You talk about products only. So starting from generation of the need to fulfillment of the need, that's materials management. But when you talk about supply chain, then it involves many other stakeholders. You have logistics, warehousing, you have users, you have temperature controlled vehicles, you have service providers. Then you have technology which helps you to monitor all of that. So now everything is AI based. There are people who follow systems which are not just GPS based. It's like on our own company, Quality NZ. We got our ISO 22000 because we follow systems. We have GPS tracking, we have everything which helps us understand where that vehicle or where the driver is. What is the temperature of the product at this time? So all of that is going to be the future if people are not doing it already. So for everybody's knowledge, if you are not thinking about future, you will be dying soon. It's important for all of us to think about future, ignore present, ignore past. If you are not future ready, somebody else will take over, and then in any case, purchasing manager's designation it's not going to be there for a long time. I'm telling you the future. If you are not thinking about future, if you have not developed yourself, if you are not dynamic enough, if you do not do things differently, then you have a challenge. I was talking to Santosh some time ago, Santosh Doyapade, and so you have to move up the ladder the way he does. You have to take care of many other portfolios and not just purchasing. Don't think कि 3 quotation आया, negotiation किया, सामान आ गया, product आ गया, मेरा job रहेगा. नहीं. I remember 2 years ago, when the COVID came in, there were 220 purchase managers who contacted me that I don't have a job. 220. Those 220 people were, we identified a team who helped them to get the job. We created something called HPMF, and that particular project took care of the jobs of these 220 people. For that, हमें बहुत आगे पीछे बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ी. But I am saying, in spite of knowledge, experience, in spite of you being in the industry, if you're not dynamic, if you're not forthcoming, if you're not involving yourself, then you're not required. So when it comes to the technology in terms of what do you look at? So the criteria is basically what's the end result, what you're looking at. So ensure that whatever reports or outcome you need, that technology must have. Second, it has to be user friendly, it has to be adaptable, it has to be easily replicable. And then there has to be a training and maintenance module available here. So if all of that is available, then that technology is good for you. Now whether it's SAP based or AI based or anything, which is all okay. So that's the major criteria for technology. Second question was, what can we do as HPMF? So Hospitality Purchasing Managers Forum, the sheer objective was to develop the knowledge of the purchasing professionals. There is nothing else, no other objective, and hence what we do is that we share a lot of information among each other. We have 48 WhatsApp groups. We are present in 40 cities in India. We are present in 6 countries officially. Within India, we have 6,000 members. So all of us, we talk to each other very often. We share information in terms of what is the product, where to buy that from, which are the recommended suppliers, what are the best practices, is there any new introduction in the industry, is there anything better outside, the best practices. So all of that has been done. We participate in events like these. We present ourselves into different events, different cities. We go and meet. So all of us, this is an opportunity for all of you. Please remember, the sheer objective is to develop you so that you help yourself for your own survival. There is no other objective. Remember that we have never asked for any money from any purchase manager for being a for the member of HPMF. It's always, please contribute, please participate, come and help us. It's always, all of you would agree to this. So for your survival, if you're not networking, then you're not required in the organization where you work. So your work is how many friends you have. So you all must be having friends on Facebook and LinkedIn. So खुश होके बोलते हैं ना मेरा 5,000 हो गया मेरे friends. So that means you are known on LinkedIn, as many as you can. So HPMF, what we wish to do, Dada, is first of all now we have created a group of 150 people. We call it a strategy group. These 150 purchase managers are creating the future pathway for HPMF. We have identified 100 key points. Out of these 100 key points is development of technology, and that's just one I am saying. So that will help the entire industry to move up to the next level. So we have already created, now our website is on, so all of you please log on to HPMF.com whenever you get time. It's already on. We haven't officially announced, but it's on. I just got that on last week. It's a static website at the moment. We will have an interactive website which will help purchase managers to get onto the website and just put the requirement of the product and the suppliers will be there. It's going to be like that. And similarly, the suppliers can log on to the website, put the product, and that will tell you which purchase manager needs that product. So it's going to be that interactive, where you will have different chat options, blog options. You can get onto the net, watch videos, training modules. We will have certifications, many other things which are being done. So parallelly, apart from working at quality, and then I do that. So that's going to be the future. So what's important for all of us is come together, help us in helping you. The industry will be benefited.
Wonderful. I think that deserves an applause. At least that tells me that you are listening to something. Food was good, I think. Anyways. Today we have, as I said, we have people from different industries, different walks of life. One of the most interesting additions to today's panel is Mr. Mohan Upadhyay, who actually handles a lot of projects, and you do residential, commercial projects as well, right? And hospitality, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here in the first place. So when it comes to projects, okay, you have timelines, you have deadlines, you have a lot of things happening altogether, because I also handle projects. I know exactly the situations that you face. Now to you, sir, how would you say, how important is, first of all, supply chain management in your particular field? Secondly, what are the challenges you face in supply chain management in projects? If you could just give us a small overview of that.
Hi everyone. Well, thanks Dave for our introduction. Precisely, since I have been handling projects, the major challenge as a supply chain which I always get is market instability. Precisely, like for example, the basic items like cement, steel, the rate keeps on going up and down. And how to really mitigate that risk? So one of the major challenges what we have. And like typically, like you don't get material at time, and then your project gets delayed. Our client gets unnecessarily caught up by, you have told me that you will finish this project in 6 months time, it's already 9 months over, how it's happening, and how, justifying all those things becomes very difficult sometimes. And coming one of the major aspects, what I see is the technology. I think sometimes I just divert from something. But
you're most welcome, sir. The floor is yours. You can divert all you like, just bring it together.
Within session told about GPS. I just wanted to tell you one old example, because I come from old school. What earlier we had was MPS. I come from various industries. I have in automobiles sometimes. There what we used to do when the parts used to come, along with the truck, I'm talking way back in 95, 96. So we used to send some person who would keep on calling from a particular location where he has reached, just to ensure that material is timely reached at site. So that was what's called MPS. I think that today what is MPS? The Mansi can tell that all the vehicles are going to track properly. You know where the driver has stopped, what are the time he started from point. So unlike that, I come from the era which was the MPS. So I see that GPS is a very great addition to the technology. And coming to various challenges, yes, the project challenges are totally different than what comes to operating challenges. Operating, when you say material has to come, you might have some options. But when the project, certain thing which is decided, pre-decided, you have to have this particular type of material only, and ensuring that coming on time and within cost. But there have been instances in my life where I have paid something extra to ensure the time, because time is the essence of it. Because when you have to deliver a project, you might lose out from your pocket, but you have to ensure that material is delivered at time, the client is happy. So finally, the customer is king, that's always believed, and that's how we were always working on that. Thank you.
Great. Which actually, when you said the word diversion, which will probably wake you up a little further, but then I think listen to it. So in Bengal, there used to be a very famous actor called Robi Ghosh. Not many people know about him. I'm sure you do. Okay. He was a comic actor, of course, and he had a very favorite story. So पुराने ज़माने में कलकत्ता में बहुत सारे जमींदार, not just Calcutta, entire Bengal, बहुत सारे जमींदार हुए और उनका फेवरेट पास टाइम क्या था? शाम को वो जाते थे बाईजी का डांस देखने, right? There used to be good महफिल. बाईजी used to come down from Lucknow and other places. निज़ामी के टाइम, निज़ाम का टाइम था, और गद्दे वद्दे लगे रहते थे. वो जाते थे, बड़े बड़े जमींदार आते थे घोड़े पे, घोड़े गाड़ी पे, सज धज के आते थे, बैठते थे और नाच देख के फिर घर जाते थे, जब ही जाते थे. कभी कभी घर नहीं भी जाते, बात दूसरी. तो ऐसा एक बार एक जमींदार थे, नाम बोलो तो मैं बोल सकता हूँ लेकिन छोड़ो, नाम छोड़ो, और उनकी, और द बेस्ट पार्ट इज it was considered to be one of the, I would say, high-end activities of zamindar. So there was no objection from the family as such. I mean, it was part and parcel of the life. So जब जमींदार जाते थे, ये जमींदार साहब भी जाते थे गाड़ी में, बड़े से घोड़े वाली गाड़ी में, और पूरा सज धज के धोती कुर्ता पहन के, तो उनकी वाइफ आए और एक कोई के चद्दर चढ़ा दी हुई गले में कि भाई जा रहे हो बाजी से मिलने, डांस देखने, तो सज धज के जाओ, चादर लगा दी उन्होंने, चल गए हो। जब रात को लौटे दारू पी के, तो बीवी पूछी चादर किधर है? उन्होंने देखा चादर तो वाकई नहीं है, तो बड़ा शर्मा गए, कुछ बोल नहीं पाए। ऐसे ही होता रहा, एक दिन गए, 2 दिन गए, 3 दिन गए, 4 दिन गए, हर बार जमींदार साहब ने अपना चादर खो के आए। 5वां दिन बीवी बड़ी गुस्से में बोली कि आज चादर तुमने खो दिया तो तुमसे बात तो छोड़ो, तुम्हारे साथ मैं रहूंगी नहीं। इनको बहुत बुरा लगा, और उस दिन इत्तेफाक से एक बहुत सुंदर सा चादर उनको दिया गले पे, ये चादर लो और जाओ। चले गए जमींदार साहब, और उस दिन मन तन पूरा तय करके रखे कि आज चादर कोई हालत नहीं खोना है, और वो पूरे प्रोग्राम चादर पकड़ के बैठे। जब प्रोग्राम खत्म हो गए फिर भी पकड़े हुए थे, गाड़ी में बैठे घर आए, और आते ही सबसे पहले चालू किए, ओ किधर हो, बीवी को पुकारना, किधर हो किधर हो, तो दौड़ के क्या हुआ क्या हुआ क्या हुआ, देखो आज चादर है चादर है। बीवी देखी और बोली चादर तो है, धोती किधर है? So the reason I actually talked about this is because a chadar and a dhoti are essential parts of your dress, right? Similarly, supply chain and materials are a part and parcel of our lives. We can't do without the other, right? Diversion over. Next question to Mansi. And very interesting because she handles one aspect of supply chain which is considered to be one of the most difficult aspects, and that is cold chain management. So first what I'd like you to do is give a brief outline of what you do, and then tell us, of course, how you handle supply chain, how beneficial it is to people in procurement, especially in hospitality, and what are your challenges that you face. And please be, when you're talking about challenges, please be honest so we understand exactly what the problems are. Thank you.
So thank you,
Please,
Nitin ji,
please
for
sit down.
inviting me. No, I prefer talking.
All right, then take the floor.
And thank you, Mahendra ji, for the kind words. So basically, I run a company called Just Deliveries, and we are solving for intra-city movement of perishables. So what we realized is that with so many cloud kitchens and cafe chains opening, there is a requirement for small movements of food, and very quick replenishment. There is very limited freezer space, limited real estate, so you can't get material for like 5 days, 6 days. Sometimes you need to replenish stock every day, or like Santoshi was saying, twice a day, So what we are doing is we've created a shared model where we are allowing brands to quickly replenish and get fresher stock on their shelves to sell to their customers. Now what we are talking, like Nitinji mentioned about technology. So of course vans are GPS trackable. We have live temperature reports. So tomorrow if there is some issue with the food quality, you can actually trace back and you can go and see that was the temperature abused during the trip, So in the past we had temperature history, now we have live temperature reports where on your dashboard you can see the temperature as the van is coming to you. One thing that I really agree with is planning, Today I think a lot of manual time is spent by the restaurant industry in planning what needs to be called for. And my next level would be that, if that can be automated, if algorithms can be built, where depending on the sales, depending on the seasonality, if 100 say paneer tikkas are sold in a cloud kitchen, today. The algorithms can place an order with a supply chain partner like me that send 50 kilos of paneer tomorrow, Of course, that is some time away, and there will be a requirement to integrate with POS and development of that. But today, as a supply chain company, we are no more transporters. It's our responsibility to work with our clients and solve for their problems. When we talk of inefficiency, a lot of the F&B outlets have owned their own vans. Why? Because there is no supply chain partner. I mean, आप McDonald's, Burger King, Subway के लिए तो है, Radha Krishna है, Coldex है. But what about the thousands of emerging chains? So people have gone and owned कि मेरे पास 2 reefer truck है, मेरे पास 4 truck है. But those vehicles are moving only for 4 hours, 5 hours a day. Then they are parked. There's so much inefficiency. So we are trying to solve for these inefficiencies. My one van serves at least 3 customers, and that's how we are able to even reduce the cost of logistics. But if we can somehow make the planning, integrate planning with supply chain and make that a little automated, a lot of wastages may also be reduced. So yes, that is from my end.
I can understand where you're coming from, because planning has always been the biggest challenge that we all face. And you must see the whole point of this discussion, complexity of supply chain in restaurants and hotels. Whereas we, as procurement people, are one cog in the entire wheel. We get our requirements from other departments. Of course, we have a role to play in ensuring that whatever materials that we have with us, there is a steady supply of that. But having said that, there are last minute requirements which I'm sure all of you here would agree become very difficult for us to handle. So yes, while I agree that planning is very important, but there's always that human element which sort of kicks in, and sometimes that causes problems for us. As I said, we have very people from various backgrounds. So the next person in focus is Mr. Nilabja, a man who has been instrumental in sort of promoting the dairy industry. He is part of a company which probably supplies massive amounts, I don't even know the figure, massive amounts of paneer, doodh, etc. to various customers. Nilabja, over to you. Same question as what I asked Mohan. Give us a brief about what you do, how important is supply chain, and I'm sure it is damn important because you've got a perishable product, and how you tackle the day-to-day issues and what do you think can be done to sort of enhance it. Let's have it.
Thank you, Jaideep. I am Nilabja Dey. I am the Director Commercial for Sharad Food Solutions Limited. Sharad Food Solution is the channel partner of India's second largest dairy, that is Nandini, Karnataka Milk Federation. We also are the channel partner of Varna Dairy, Gokul, as well as Rajhans. Amul ka paas bahut zyada distribution hai. So we wanted to partner with those cooperative companies who have a fantastic product but are very weak in marketing. So it's a win-win situation for both. Since I come from purchase background, I know what is the requirement of a typical 5-star hotel, typical QSR, typical restaurant, outdoor catering. So I know what is the food cost each segment can afford, and I can just plug and play that model. So before going to that, I would like to explain the dairy industry in brief, because a lot of people do not have that in-depth knowledge what India dairy industry looks like. You know, dairy industry in India is the world's largest consumer as well as producer of milk. It contributes 23% of world's dairy production. With the pre-era of 69-70, before the White Revolution came into place, India was producing a mere 21 million metric ton of milk. By 89-90, it grew to 51 million metric ton. And any guess what is the consumption, what is the production in 2021-22? You won't believe it has gone up to 210 million metric ton. So India has progressed superbly, very fast it has progressed. But again, the problem is that there are inefficient supply chain, which I really appreciate what Mansi is doing. We want lot of Mansis so that supply chain can be addressed.
But Dilakya, before you go further, I got one stupid question, very stupid question. 210 metric ton की बात कर रहे हैं. So are you saying
million metric ton? Million metric ton.
210 million metric ton की बात कर रहे हैं. How many cows do you require to produce so much milk? No, serious. I mean, come on. Imagine this question. आपने चालू किया 50 से 210 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन की बात करें, कितनी पॉपुलेशन बढ़ी गाय की?
इनफैक्ट इंडिया का दो प्रॉब्लम है. वन इज दैट इंडिया का जो पर एनिमल आउटपुट है, इट इज मच लोअर देन ग्लोबल आउटपुट. इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग एट 6.5%, but globally it is growing at 1.5%. India, 8 crores farmers are associated with this dairy industry alone, and it contributes 5% economy of the dairy industry. But the supply chain का जो problem है ना, the supply chain is milk is a very perishable commodity. उसपे the characteristics of milk changes in 4 hours if you do not keep it in a cold temperature or utensil. The characteristics changes. It becomes stale, smell aa jata. There are a lot of things happens. So supply chain plays a major role. Silly visibility in supply chain. I told Nitin when he asked me that it's very core to my heart, because I face lot of issues in this. And since India is still not as progressive as New Zealand or Australia, it's still it's growing. There are a lot of infrastructural issues. But I will just explain how this entire supply chain happens in milk industry. So in a typical village, you see by 5:30 a.m. there is a big queue where all the farmers come with their milk. They come in a small containers, some 5 liters, some 3 liters, 10 liters. They come and give to a collection center. That collection center guy, what he does, he just checks the fat and SNF. SNF is solid non-soluble fat. So they check the SNF and they collect the milk. From there it goes to a bulk milk chamber, or bulk BMC we call it. That cools down the milk, and cools down the milk at 4 degrees centigrade. From there it goes to the main dairy. Main dairy, it pasteurizes the milk, it homogenizes the milk, it packs the milk in pouches. Then that milk goes to the distributor. Then the distributor sends it to the retailer. Then the retailer gives it to the consumer. So there is a cycle, and this cycle is very sensitive. If you do not have a proper cold chain, then you have got issues. So my submission to everyone is that milk is a very sensitive product to be handled, and the delivery model, especially in the Horeca segment or in the consumer segment, the delivery window is very narrow. If you deliver milk at 12 o'clock, nobody will buy it. The delivery window is hardly from 6 o'clock to maximum 9. After 9, nobody is going to take it. So that's how it happens. And in India, I think there are dearth of professionals in this segment, because a lot of corporates feel that milk or dairy business is very low end kind of thing. But we need lot of people where lot of technologies can be added, so that the upbringing of the farmers can be helped to. Lot of technologies has to be added. Amul is the pioneer in this segment. Amul is our mother brand, you can say, of the Doodh Pita India. But others like HPMF, Gokul, Varna, Mother Dairy, all are coming up. There are a lot of private brands like Milky Mist, Heritage, they have come up in a very good way. And future is looking very bright with hotel industry going full tongue after this COVID. The consumption of dairy has gone up substantially. Only thing is that we need to be very cautious about the hygiene, about the adulteration, because this year is a very tough year for dairy because of the lumpy disease. Lumpy disease has impacted a lot. Even 10 to 15% of our milk has gone because Haryana and Gujarat has been impacted. Yeah. So the supply chain plays a major role where you need to be on your toes. It's a very difficult because 25 days, 365 days working, no holidays, 24/7. So बोलते हैं ना गाय दूध देना बंद नहीं करती तो इसीलिए ये साइकिल चलते रहता है. But things are looking good for India because India being export baby has created huge record in dairy industry is looking up. But we need lot of young professionals. जैसे नितिन साहब बोल रहे थे कि my background is procurement, but I have switched sides and I feel that yes, since you know the product, you are in a better position to sell the product. So it's not that you need to be trapped in your purchase position. You need to explore opportunities, and opportunities are very big because in dairy 85% is unorganized and 15% are only organized. आपको बस with a population of 130 crores, if you can tilt at least 5%, आपका काम बन गया. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nilabja. So that actually gives me two ideas. So people who want to change jobs, गाय में invest करो. दूसरी बात, supply chain is like a zipper. अगर आप बाहर गए हैं कोई मीटिंग में और आपकी जिपर फंस गई, क्या होता है? क्या होता है, gentlemen? You don't know what to do. You don't have a chance to change your pant because you are out. You don't have safety pins like ladies in your handbag, so you can just use a safety pin. मैक्स टू मैक्स क्या कर सकते हो? दौड़ के कोई स्टोर में जाके आपका एक नया पैंट या जीन्स खरीद के पहन ले सकते हो. उससे ज्यादा कुछ कर नहीं सकते. सॉरी, और शर्ट आउट कर सकते हो. आजकल शर्ट भी छोटे होते सर, वो भी तकलीफ है. So end of the day, supply chain is one integral part of our work. Whether it's in our industry or wherever you're working, if you think back, you will not be able to do anything without a proper supply chain in place. So behind the scenes, what Nilabja was saying, the behind the scenes, the work is huge. And that's how you get your 1 liter of doodh in the morning. You must appreciate that, right? Sorry? Yeah, he has not told us that yet. So when we talk about India population, everybody says India population was zyada hai. Now I think cows are also included. Sunil, being part of Reliance, very reliable company, very Reliance-based company, again into a lot of things, right? We were talking a while ago before lunch, and he was saying that the speciality of procurement is even more deep here, right? You have for each product, you have people who do that product purchases only, commodity purchases only, right? Now, when it comes to that sort of specialization, how do you think the people in that particular field will ever grow? Very genuine question from my side because I didn't understand. If I am buying maida, how many kilos is that?
200 people approximately.
No, I'm saying how many kilos of maida does Reliance buy?
So just got a rough number from one of buyer that on average monthly they buy 250 crore of oil.
तो 250 करोड़ तेल जाता है मुकेश अंबानी जी को. सबसे पहली बात. But not a joke. Question is, a person who's handling buying 250 crores worth of oil per month, his life is into oil, right? और करता क्या हो? So how do you think people like these can sort of improve their situation in terms of career? आगे चल के क्या?
Well, I think maybe one guy is specialized on procuring a certain product. It's not that he may be ending up only buying that for a lifetime. Obviously, there will be a transfer function or something, and they keep on learning more. So when you say specifically he's procuring oil, not necessarily he just know about oil. Probably he has a lot of varieties of oil. So oil product, derived products are there.
Obviously.
So the procurement, the world of that procurement is not just limited to one product. It may have a lot of value added to that product, and on a growing path, it depends on company to company, individual to individual, that how he wants to move on, move the ladder. Maybe he takes up another profession or takes up another vertical as such. It's definitely individual based. I mean, it's not a company as such where he can just sit and do continuously for 20 years or 30 years.
Thank God. So there is some scope for
that. Yeah, I'm sure. So.
Okay, great. No, so that was just actually a joke. So that was not the question. Question I have for you is, when it comes to retail scenarios, because a part of the job I know is to handle retail as well. Now, how critical is supply chain to a retail segment scenario where you have possibly 10,000 plus products to be displayed, to be sold, to be replenished? That's it.
So I think the backbone itself is supply chain for that. So be it retail or be it any segment, like if I have to take an example of Amazon. So Amazon may have innumerable SKUs, and I'm sure the way they are handling is and the entire background, the company itself is a supply chain company for that matter. And it will be definitely supported with an IT. I mean, most of the work is automated, or most of the work is system based, generated. Supply chain is integral part of that business. There is no doubt that without that entire planning of supply chain, this business can either work. So retail, coming to retail, when you say retail, I mean it's just not a place where one unit plays. So you sit at one office and you manage different locations, different premises, different places. Now sitting at one office and managing the entire supply chain has a very back-end planning required. So the planning which we were mentioning about planning is something which is a part of that business. The managing the entire vertical of business, you will have different verticals, different people for that. But having said that, this entire business is managed by that supply chain team. There will be a lot of stakeholders involved, be it logistics, be it demand planning, forecasting. Everything will be a part of that role.
Right. Dr. Nagaraj, sorry. Question is, because you are now you are the CEO of Quality New Zealand. So for those who do not know much about Quality New Zealand, of course he's going to say more. It's a company promoted by New Zealand cricketers. And I think probably we could always ask you for autographs as well going forward. Question is, you also handle a company which is a perishable product. It has got a perishable product. That's frozen meats, right? And all the way from New Zealand, most of it. It's what you're now doing is actually bringing that into India as well, so India can also produce on the same quality standards as what New Zealand does, right? Could you give us a background of how cold chain supply or cold chain works as far as meats are concerned? We have heard the dairy product bit, now about meats. So you have been there, you have seen the factory, you have seen how things work. Tell us some very interesting points about supply chain management in New Zealand and how you're translating that to India.
Really, it's a great opportunity for me to promote my company. So always talk about HPMF. Today I'll talk about Quality New Zealand. Normally I do not mix, but thank you for this question. So a couple of months ago I was in New Zealand, and first time I saw New Zealand. Though I worked with this company for the last 3 years. I used to work with this company, say in my previous assignment also, when I worked for 2.5 years. Went back to the industry, and now this is 3 years again. So, but first time in New Zealand. So, it's not just a beautiful, pristine, green country, but they're very environmentally conscious. They're very green in terms of their approach as well. Extremely concentrating on well-being of individuals. and also animals. So the lamb which is produced is extremely well taken care of. There are nannies who literally take care of those animals. They have centers which also ensure that the milk which comes out of the product of the animal, it's also lab tasting. They ensure that the child which is born, a small little baby of lamb, gets the daily nutrition if the mother cannot give. So they have different segments of the farm wherein they have warmers for temperature. And I was amazed to see that they have centers where they have small 2-day-old to 5-day to 10-day, 30-day. They have created segments there, and then they have different temperature levels maintained for the animal so that it grows. They also have zero carbon. New Zealand is the only country in the world that they are carbon free for production of lamb. And I'm amazed at how do you do that. So that's going to be our next USP when we start selling a product. We will have more details of that, but then it's absolutely carbon free.
Are you saying that, sorry to interrupt, are you saying that carbon footprint is zero?
Absolutely zero.
Amazing. How is that?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. So I do not have the technical details, but then the government of New Zealand announced, and our factory, which is the largest meat producing factory in the world, announced it. So I have asked for the further details, which then that's what I said, that we will have that as a USP when we start selling a product. And that's the only country which claimed to be zero carbon footprint. So whenever the slaughtering happens, first of all, as I said, it's a very conscious country. So if the animal is not ready to be slaughtered, in terms of not that we don't ask the animal, but if we check that if the animal is not ready in terms of weight, age, medical condition, so we do not slaughter, and then the traceability starts from there. So that's our first USP, wherein we even know the name of the animal, the name of the parents of the animal, when was that animal born and when was it slaughtered, what was the temperature of the body, to when was it slaughtered and what was the temperature then. From there we monitor till the time we deliver to the customer. So it's just not that the temperature loggers are kept in the containers when it leaves from New Zealand, but these loggers are taken over by us when we clear the consignment at the airport. So here also we ensure that as soon as the container lands, it straight away after we clear it in the bonded warehouse. So we take the container straight into the bonded warehouse, clearance is done there. Because if you keep it at the warehouse, at the Navasheva, then you are not sure whether power will lagaya hoga or whether they would maintain the temperature. So the entire container is bought into the Navasheva. We have our own warehouse and also the bonded warehouse in JWL. We do the clearance there. The animal quarantine is done there. The FSSAI is done. Custom clearance is done there. So all of that is under our own monitoring. And from there, then so we have Vishal who is sitting here. He takes care of all of that. I am taking the credit, but then it's done by Vishal Sharma. From there, then we ensure that the products are then supplied to customer again in temperature controlled vehicles. So the monitoring of the temperature happens when it leaves the warehouse, that frozen warehouse. Our vehicle gets inside the JWL plant, where there is not even a half centigrade loss of the temperature, drop of the temperature. Straight away gets into the temperature controlled vehicle, which is already at -80, and then that product is delivered to customers like hotels or retail. Wherein again when it is delivered, we verify the temperature. There are loggers, and the signature of the customer is taken while delivering. Uske baad mein it's their responsibility to maintain, but we go to that extent. So that's the way we maintain the sanity of the product.
Wow. So next time you having mutton, उसका नाम बसंती था ये पता चलेगा. बोल सकते हैं.
So we have scanners on every pack. If you scan it, it will give you the history of the product.
Great. I think that sort of covers my question. I would like the audience to come up with questions or any queries, any clarifications that you want. I hope whatever you've heard so far has not been very boring. I tried to at least understand that boredom should not be a part of a discussion, right? So anyone would like to ask to any of the panelists anything? Comments, questions? Yes, please. We need a mic. Thank you.
From Reliance Geomart partner, Horeca segment. So questions to Dr. Nitin only. What he mentioned right now is quite in line. But I have a question. So in the whole journey, you take care of everything. But let's say some plots, anything, or a temperature shock is not up to the mark. So how do you dispose it off? Or what happened to that lot, which you cannot give to customer due to quality concern or something? Something happened after you got the container in. So what is the process for that? Is that developed or you're in process, or if they would like to know that?
It's a brilliant question. I have a very straightforward answer wherein in last 2.5 years of my journey, there's not even one the products at the port, and there we would have had issues. But what happens is these containers themselves are so beautifully packed that it maintains the temperature even if it is not powered for some time, and that sometime could be 8 hours to 12 hours. So you have to ensure that within that time, if it is not powered, you clear it. So there has not been a single complaint, and I mean it. I'm saying with the hands on my heart, with a lot of dedication, and I'm honestly saying that not even a single complaint in terms of there's a temperature loss from any of the customers. But in case if there is any complaint, then we dispose it off. So that's the SOP, wherein that product will not get into the market.
So he's asking how do you dispose?
How do we dispose it off? Okay. So there is. I can tell you what we have done in past, but then at quality end that has not been the case. So Vishal, would you want to clarify this?
So basically, you can coordinate with waste management people. So they will do the needful and they will provide you the details of photos and the overall disposable process, and they will provide you a certificate which you can keep for your reference.
So do they burn it off or something else? I'm just asking.
So basically, it depends upon them. Okay. So what is the overall process of disposal? Thank you.
Vishal, I'll give you my address. Next time you have something of that sort, please pass it on to me. Send it to me. I'll manage, no problem. Any other questions? Please? Yes, Ryan. Introduce yourself, please.
I thought you just did.
I did. I just called your name out. You have to tell us your background, the name of your dog.
Unless you want that to be delivered to your home. My name is Ryan Rodrigues. I'm with K Hospitality. I work as a senior manager. And my question to Mansi is that how do you ensure that the person who is driving the vehicle does not switch off, not with your company, but with many other freezer companies, is that they switch it off, I don't know why, to save petrol, diesel, something like that. But how do you ensure it is never done?
So, Ryan, we've in fact been in business for 6 years, but it's only now that we have set up a control tower. We work with the software, which is a control tower, where our live temperature trackers throw alerts anytime the temperature drops below our set parameters. So for example, for ice cream, we'll set it at say 17 to 21 degrees. Any fluctuation, my manager gets an alert. Further, now we are working to integrate that alert even to our customer's dashboard. That's the level of transparency we want to build, So now with technology and software coming up, a lot of transparency is coming in cold chain, which is beneficial for both, for us as well as our customers.
Thank you. Great. Anybody else?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Prachi Patil from Suzu Agro. We are a R&D company, especially supplying to Horeca segment with frozen, non-frozen, ambient temperature food items. Because that's basically getting the trend of QSRs, and that's kind of backbone for most of the startups and companies out there. So my question to the panelists is how a company like us can ensure that we are reaching maximum of you out there, and we are making just-in-time delivery in terms of saving time and cost for all of you, because storage and energy is a cost, of course. So,
Ma'am, I have an answer. So our convention is coming up. It's in January 19, 20, 21 in Calcutta. Would you like to participate there?
Of course, yes.
You'll be able to meet 200 buyers at the venue for the 3 days, and there will be dedicated B2B. So that's one answer which I can give. Rest to the panelists can.
So essentially, it's not a problem. But yes, what we are talking about is an HPMF convention which happens every year, and we hold it very, I would say we go to the minute details of it. So you have, if it's a marketing pitch, you have a chance, like Dr. Nagale said, to meet 200 decision makers who can actually listen to what you have to say and be able to guide you on how you can reach them. So that's one aspect of it. Is there a question attached to it? So that was the answer. Do you have any other question to it? That was it? Okay. Yeah, okay. One by one. Yeah.
Thank you. A very good afternoon. Thank you for this enlightening session. My name is Charan Naran. I've been in the food sector for 21 years, hotels, restaurants, retail. I now run a firm called Uniting the Dots. We help startups, consumer startups and SMBs with growth. My question to the purchase managers here from the hospitality sector is, what are the so there's a lot of innovation that's now happening with product as far as plant-based meat is concerned, as far as millets are concerned, and also a lot of innovation in health and wellness products, which the travelers are already experiencing in their own sort of consumer journeys. How do you see that getting incorporated into hotels? Are you proactively looking to associate with such brands? And what is the best way for these startups who don't always have very large budgets to sign up with hotels? Thank you.
Yeah, Mahendra, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, I would like to address this issue. So basically, the category of product or that particular concept what you're talking about. So there are a segment of the food product which people operates into the hospitality sector. One is all the basic product which is very common into the industry. Then we move to the next segment which is into something which is exotic food material kind of thing, and another one is the one which is vegan or you can say plant-based. Though for few categories of the population of the India, most of the people are not aware of this product, wherein the people who are aware of this product, for them it's very common. But we, as we are placed into all segment of business, like we are into high-end catering, we are into corporate catering, we are into restaurants. So when it comes to catering, we take that kind of liberty where we can use those products. So basically, we want the people who can give justice to the product. So accordingly, we create that kind of dedicated menus. So menu based on plant-based product, menu based on vegan products, again menu who's entirely based on the all exotic food items. So there are definitely a scope into the market, and again you need that kind of restaurants or that kind of business partners who can develop lots different sort of menus which is entirely based on your product. So what your responsibility is to target that kind of companies who take that kind of liberty to develop your product, and they just sell your product into their expertise and into their menus, and they can again they can revamp entire your product base, and they can give a final finished product they can make, and they can serve to the guests. So this is the thing what you can do in this kind of vegan and plant-based product.
Does that answer your question completely?
While there is products which need menu adoption into the menu, there's also packaged products, right? Like this lovely Valley Culture honey, or for that matter, something that we're seeing here. A lot of things that go into the mini bar as well. So the point I was also trying to make is this: consumers and travelers are making healthier choices today. Would you consider placing, say, a millet-based snack in a mini bar rather than a Lay's without I don't want to without taking any particular
You already
brand
taken the name, but I understand what you're saying.
It can be any brand, not Lay's. It can be any brand, but rather, would you rather have those kind of things which can be a differentiator?
May I answer your question? Sorry, with the permission of the panel. You see, I set up restaurants. I've been in hotels for a very long time. One of the biggest challenges that we face when it comes to health food, when it comes to specialized products, when it comes to organic food, is the cost of the product. Now, inevitably speaking, I understand, or we understand, that cost to you is more here because you have certain inputs into that product which is not mass. It is specialized. But look at it from the other point of view also. The hotels, restaurants, I don't know whether many of you are associated with restaurants. Whatever you may imagine, the profit margin of restaurants are wafer thin. Wafer thin. Now, if you ask a restaurant to introduce your product, if not of the same level, it has to be very competitive. And you have to work towards that. You see, it's a chicken and egg situation. You would say, I can only be competitive if I have to sell more. Okay? The restaurants will tell you, how can I sell if you sort of supply to me at this price? Because I can't meet my profit margins. So what you guys have to do is arrive at a middle path wherein you can offer your products at a reasonable cost. I'm not saying low cost, a reasonable cost. And at the same time, you also need to increase your your base of consumers by promoting your product to that extent. There are people, honestly speaking, I've been working with hotels and restaurants for a very long time. Only in the last 3 years do people specifically ask for vegan food or ask for organic food, organic based food. And that's a very, very limited number of people. The more people ask for it, the restaurants will be forced to keep on the menu. Get my point? So you need to actually also spend, maybe as a forum on marketing, to promote your product. It is happening, but the pace needs to go much more. All right? Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, you had a question.
Good, Horeca. From the customer point of view, as far as role of IT, in which has been talked about a lot, I would like to know from them how mature they feel that the IT use in that particular customer point of view is there from 1 to 10. 3 major challenges they face and the solution for the same. Thank you.
Who would like to take that question?
Regarding your IT solution, main thing is it should be user friendly, quick answers, and for the Horeca segment, it has to run parallel with every different points wherever you deliver your products. Some companies might use A, another would use B, another would use C. Are this A, B, C, D compliant with D? So that the end result, whoever is the customer, whether he has a cell phone in his hand, is his cell phone adaptable to get that answer? So IT has to remove that solution to keep one user-friendly product, and everybody can log in and they get that answer.
So I wanted to know how mature it is according to you, from the customer point of view, used in Horeca, like probably Reliance would be 80%, or just I'm throwing the numbers, I really don't know.
Yes.
And the challenges which has been faced from the customer point of view. For example, I'm a hotel chain or restaurant chain. I mean, a lot of people they've been organized. So I want to know what are the challenges probably Mansi ma'am would face it from the unorganized sector, where she was talking about compatibility and interfaces with their system to what sales are going to be there, and internally then that take it to the material level kind of a thing. But how mature it is from the Horeca point of view, like end user point of view, and what are the fundamental challenges we face to have that kind of solution what she's been talking about, or all of us have been talking about for IT using holistically in logistics.
For this segment, you can say that India has grown vast. That's why you will find many MNCs coming here and preparing their 4th year. They have got the base here in India and they know that they are growing. IT has been developed a lot in India and the government is supporting it very well. So whatever you do, it has to be mostly user friendly. आजकल के बच्चे लोग भी फोन लेके डायरेक्टली ऑर्डर कर लेते हैं. So if a child can operate that phone, they can understand parents' pockets are going to get empty.
Mansi, would you like to also add to that?
So, I'll take this example of retailers, so we also deliver today to about 1,500 retailers, general trade, supermarkets. Now I've seen the progress of technology in quick commerce. If you all have ordered on Swiggy, Instamart or Dunzo, so these new age companies, they've adopted technology so well that any of my bread clients, La Folly and all, how much stock there is in the dark store and how much they want to order the next day, they have it. Technology algorithms are solving it, right? And they exactly know, you send me 15 pieces of protein bread tomorrow. Now in our supermarkets or in our kiranas, the same brands have to send salespeople, jao order leke aao. It is very inefficient. So I think there is a long way for our F&B industry to go, but the intention is there. Now with Paid Puja and all these POS systems coming and integrating with Swiggy, Zomato, it's only a matter of time that the integration will happen throughout the chain. And like even Nitinji said that, all brands which are futuristic, they will survive and they will grow.
One moment. Are you from the IT?
I'm from IT and hospitality for last 25 years.
So do you represent one particular brand which is into hospitality?
I represent one company which has multiple brands.
All right. So let's talk about the software part of it.
Yes.
So could you name the software that your company has developed for Horeca?
No, we have not developed. We are using.
You are looking at the opportunity to do so.
No, not opportunity. What I thought that there is a huge gap between player like Mansi ma'am understanding from our side as well.
All right.
Or probably 4-5 years back before COVID, we were much advanced and we were not able to. In that context, I wanted to know because, as you rightly mentioned, egg and chicken, volume and business. So I just wanted to understand what are the trends or is anything happening or in general to know how mature it is. So and how much time it will take to us to get ready.
I can give you one, if you have the time, I can give you 2 minutes of my experience in this. So as I said, I set up restaurants as a program. Most of the restaurant softwares, so which are, I'm talking restaurants because hotels is a different ball game altogether.
Right.
Okay. Most of the restaurant softwares that are in existence have developed aspects of the requirement of restaurants which are useful and beneficial to restaurants, no doubt about it. What happens inevitably, they pack it with so many features that only 1 or 2 of those features are actually usable. Rest are not user friendly. So when it comes to a sales pitch, they will claim that using my software, you will be able to see that tomorrow you don't have 20 kilos of mirchi in your bin, right? Or you will be able to see it. Question is, they forget to mention that there is a manpower element involved. A part stock which you need to put into the system is manpower based, it is not AI based. Inevitably what happens is, and please understand that the people who are using the software are not very technical people. They are basically clerical grade people. So whatever they claim, they are good softwares, no doubt, but they do not provide the wherewithal for the users to be able to actually access and get into that.
Just to add your point, we are the only company in India with presence in all verticals, including the Hotel Management College. We started Pune University. I mean, it's a promotion, but it's NGO.
Yeah, so you wanted to know what the challenges?
Yeah.
So the biggest problem is that.
I'm completely with you. We've been using Prologic for last 12-15 years now. And we've been, a lot of their clients call us for a demo because according to them, we've used maximum features. Because of course, we have restaurants, QSR, all those verticals, outdoor. So in that case, right from 55 till 10,000 rupees a meal or a pack cost is being charged. That kind of versatility we've been using for last 12 years.
Features so hai sir.
But thank you.
All right, thank you.
Nice talking to you, as always.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes.
At the cost of sounding that I'm marketing my company, yes, Nitin, we are participating at HMPF. My question is, my question is, we are a B2B platform, we are an e-commerce company with so many veterans sitting over here. What is that one expectation from a B2B e-commerce channel partner like Reliance JioMart from the industry veterans as far as restaurants and hotels is concerned? We offer all solutions under one roof. We offer multiple products under single roof, right? But still, you guys look at various other options as well. So what is that one thing which you like us to add in our kitty, which will help us to serve you better? Thank you.
Giving the multiple products in under one roof, the most critical part for the buyers is the cost. Are you feeling that you should fall in that particular category, wherein if I am buying a different product from the different vendors, I am very cost effective on that. So once I am buying from you things, I will love to buy from under one roof. That is my work is done, because I do a contract with one guy and my entire process will in place. So it will be very happy for me to, instead of making 20 contracts for 20 different items, I can make one contract with you. But if it is a cost effective, definitely yes.
Thank you. So cost is the most important.
One of the most important.
Not necessarily just cost. So one of the what's important, Manish, is the consistency of the quality, because you are a generalist, I would call it, and we deal with specialists. So wherein there are people who supply only milk, only vegetable, only fruit, only grocery, and then these are the people who come to our rescue every year. And also, but then that's a passe, I would say, that's old way of thinking. And people like you are the future, because the purchase manager needs to understand the time and energy which we invest in those contracts, identification, also overall saving. If an organization like you transparently sits across and says, okay, if it's going to be, say, 20 crores of worth business which you do, and a particular amount of saving which you do, I am ready to give you overall that kind of package, and I will still save. So I will ensure quality, I will ensure consistency, I will ensure timely delivery, and then obviously there is a profitability. I don't think there will be an issue. They would like to deal with you.
Thanks, Nitin.
All right, I think we have sort of covered our time. One last question, and Dr. Nagarala, you have the floor on this as well. What advice would you give to people who are sort of either starting a supply chain career or they are well mature into a supply chain career? What advice would you give them on how they should now look at the future in terms of technology, in terms of improvement, and in terms of general understanding of where the world is taking them?
So first of all, Dada, this answer, obviously you will be the right person to give. But I want to tell you, Mr. Jaideep Gupta is the topper at an exhibition, at a certification course called Certified Hotel Purchase Manager. He's the topper in the world. It's not that he's the topper in India. So that's it. I was the first person who passed, but then mera inse 20% kam tha. But then, so it's important, all the purchase managers sitting here, remember you have to evolve and grow every day. हम छोड़ देते हैं, हम सोचते हैं कि I have done everything, मैं अब जॉब में हूँ, मुझे इतना पैसा मिलता है, at the end of the day I save, I have work-life balance and I am done. No, you're not. If you do not train yourself, don't grow, don't develop yourself, don't keep up with the market, if you are not networking, you're not working. Remember this sentence. You have to network. You have to meet people. Call up people. आप कई सारे friends, I'm sure in COVID, you must have heard आज ये साहब गए, दूसरे दिन इनकी death हो गई. You must have heard. And then suddenly you got in touch with his son or somebody, and you said, I wish I had been in touch with him. So I ensure that I am in touch with my friends. I've done a very beautiful thing on my WhatsApp that I've created a broadcast list and I should say hello. तो सबको लगता है मैंने personally hello कर दिया. But at least I'm doing that. So please do something which once in a week, at least not good morning every day, but then something which then it keeps you in touch. So, I'm sorry, I diverted a bit. So developing yourself is extremely important. There are several free certification courses available on the internet for supply chain management. Several. I have done 74 of them. I do not mention them on my resume, but I have. So I'm saying that's for you. I will send if you want. There are people who get on, like Sunil Kuttan. He's a great example what a development one person can do. He's a writer, he's a blogger. He writes several things when it comes. So point I'm making, all of you will have to ensure that you might have come from whatever background. But if you do not keep yourself up, if you don't feel confident, then somebody else will come and overtake you. You have to feel that I am the best, मेरे से better कोई होना ही नहीं चाहिए. In the entire audience, in the entire forum, or wherever you are. So how would you be best? One, create a time for yourself. I ensure that every day, every week, once in a week, a day, I spend on myself in learning. I ensure that 3 hours I go on the net and I'm not on FB or Instagram, but I'm learning, I'm reading something. If you don't do that, you're not there. Now, कई जगह पे मैं फोरम पे जाता हूँ, लोग कुछ भी पूछ लेते हैं. So just imagine everybody considers you as a specialist. I'm not. I myself is a F&B specialist, and I'm not a absolute specialist of everything. But आप कहीं जाओ तो people will ask you about IT, some people will ask you about F&B. I'm a trained chef, so कई लोग मुझे recipes पूछते हैं. So point I'm making is, if you are not aware, at least top of the mind होना ही चाहिए. इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है, स्पेसिफिकली टू योरसेल्फ. यू नीड टू नो फ्रेंड्स कि आज आप यू ऑल आर परचेज मैनेजर्स. इफ यू डोंट नो ऑल ऑफ यू हु आर सिटिंग हियर, देन यू आर नॉट नेटवर्किंग. आप आए, आप बैठे, इवेंट सुना, चले गए, व्हाट्स द यूज? इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ, बी आउटगोइंग, गो एंड मीट पीपल, आस्क अस कि व्हाट एल्स. लाइक वी हैव ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल्स, वी हैव अ बुक व्हिच वी रोट 4 years ago. We have written a book on basics of hospitality procurement. Not even a single person from the audience ever asked me, can I get a copy? We wrote that. It's been circulated and handed over to the HPMF members who asked for. But then बाकी लोग उनके ऑफिस में पढ़ा होगा, पढ़ते भी नहीं, तो what's the use? We have spent so much of time and energy. We sent articles, white papers, best practices on the net. If you see, there are too many things which are published, which we want to circulate and send, but then people may not read it. They are just interested in asking, ये product कहाँ से मिलेगा? And that's not done. This time, sir, this event when we were doing, I had to be forceful in the WhatsApp group, and I said, if you don't register yourself and participate, I will not allow you to even post a single requirement on the group. And there were still 3 or 4 people who still went ahead and ये मैं कहाँ से लूँ? So I had to delete it. Thankfully, WhatsApp now gives you the admin rights where you are allowed to delete that. So I kept on deleting it. It was the first register. So all of you are sitting here. I'm happy that you find value. So invest in yourself. Invest in your relationship with your colleagues, your industry, with your bosses. Imagine if you don't have good relationship with your boss, then also you're not required. Well, first person, हम तो expense department है. So what happens if there is an issue in the organization? So we are the ones who are axed, and this is what happened when I talked about those 220 guys who were sacked. I blame them because they were not required because of their attitudinal issues. If they had better attitude and relationship in their organization, they wouldn't have been sacked. Some of them are here, I know. So point I'm making is ensuring that you're abreast, ensuring that you have friends everywhere, ensuring that you are known in the industry, not necessarily a best purchase manager, but there is a purchase manager or there is a person who knows, or asking questions. If you don't do that, then it's an issue. So get onto the net, learn these free courses, take out time for yourself every week, at least one day, if not one day, at least half a day. And if not half a day, at least 2 hours. I don't know how many of you read. If you don't read newspapers, you have a problem. So read newspapers, whether it's Hindi, English, not just headlines, read them through. I'm thankful to my father who actually got that habit in me. So every day I would ensure that I read the newspaper for 10 minutes and then, so at least पता चलता है क्या हो रहा है और कोई सब जानने की ज़रूरत है, हम गॉड नहीं है. बट एटलीस्ट कोई पूछे तो अपने पास में थोड़ा बहुत जॉब. इन्होंने परसेंटेजेस में जब बात करी, मैं इनको पूछा तो वो जो आपने बोला कि 10 whatever million, वो कितने जीरो होते हैं. So it's important that we need to keep ourselves aware of the industry and the happenings in the industry. Dada, you should answer this because you are the best judge. Mr. Jaideep Gupta has been my senior in the industry. He has created and built several hotels. Now, for last few years, last 8-10 years, he's been setting up restaurants and several kitchens and interiors and many things he does. He's got very dynamic personality in terms of setting up different outlets, but he's also the advisory board of HPMF. So whatever I speak, it comes from people like Mr. Jaideep Gupta. So he has a great role in the industry. So that you might want to give some inputs on this.
Okay. So what Nitin is trying to say is that I'm a jack of all trades and master of none, essentially speaking. I won't say that I presume to give advice. I don't think that's the right word to use. But what I can just share with you what I have tried to do in my career. So I started my career literally making shoes. I used to work for Bata India Limited and in their factory, and I started making shoes. And then moved to procurement in hotels, which is a vastly different dream. Kahan chaad hai aur kahan dharti hai, aisa ho gaya tha mera. But one thing I never sort of experienced in life was I never experienced a sort of a phase in my life wherein I had to ask myself this question, what next? Because for me, there was always something else ahead of me. Therefore, when I started into procurement, I took an active interest in other various departments as well. So procurement people, unfortunately, for whatever be the reason, they wear a bit of blinkers, They understand only purchase, they understand only stores, they understand only SCM. I used to walk out of my department, I used to walk into housekeeping, I used to walk into front office, I used to walk into F&B and just get to know what's going on in those departments. That helped me get a 360-degree view of the hotel industry, and that is why it is helping me tremendously. I don't want to mention my age, but I'm pretty much there. So, for the last 25-30 years, I've picked up every aspect of hospitality because I took interest in it. That's all I have to say. Take an interest in other things besides what you generally do. Today, I set up restaurants, I plan them, I know as much of the engineering background or aspect of it as any other engineer, but I've got zero knowledge of engineering per se. I'm not a bred engineer, but I learned it. I know much about menus, I know much about how to cook food, I know much about service, everything. Because I took the interest to go out and learn all that. Today, I am into music, I write books, I enjoy myself. Because end of the day, enjoyment is the culmination of your career. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're there. That's all. Thank you.
Hello. Dada, excuse me. I wanted to have one this thing. Dada ने सब कुछ बता दिया. Dada का कल birthday.
अरे वाह.
Wish him happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We've had a very riveting, very insightful, very engrossing session, and we'd like to say thank you to all our panelists. Sir, could we have a group photograph here before we... Okay. Thank you very much to our panelists, Mansi Mahansarai. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Please do stay back for a photograph. Mr. Mohan Upadhyay, Mr. Sunil Kuttan, Mr. Santosh Daipode, Mr. Samir Chandrakant Pednekar, Mr. Rajendra Sitaram Kanekar, Nilabja De, Mahendra Shinde, Harvey Rodrigues, Dr. Nitin Nagrale, and of course our most erudite moderator, Jaideep Gupta. A big round of applause for all of them. And thank you, because you've been a fabulous audience. Thank you so much. And we'd like to present a small, not small, to each of our panelists. we can ask Bansi to take care of it. Okay, we've got something for each of you. That's for one person. And thank you very much to our wonderful audience. In case you're not attending the next, I think that's by invitation only by Ahar. So may I request you to kindly move into the pre-function area. Do remember to carry all your belongings with you as we set up for our next session. Thank you.
Everybody is requested, all HPMF members are requested.